Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am back to finally film my week 1 check-in for the month of April. Now, I feel like I've been getting up so many budgeting videos, so I really hope you guys have been enjoying them. But I just got up this week, I believe, my March budget results, where I go ahead and close out the month of March. I also got up my April paycheck 1 setup and cash envelope stuffing, and now I'm going to check in for that same paycheck. So if you guys don't know, I like to film these weekly check-in videos so that I can go ahead and see how I'm doing with my spending with my various different categories, which I have a little key here that shows you all the categories I track in here. I also go ahead and put my bill dues, paydays, and even like to track no spend days. So I think someone had a question about no spend days. So the way that I mark my no spend days is if I don't have anything on that day, so whether it be an expense from one of my cash envelopes or a bill, I consider a bill as me still spending money, so I wouldn't count these days that have bill dues as no spend days. So that's kind of how I go about it. I hope that makes sense. I know some people do it differently, but that's how I've been doing it for years. As you guys can see, I already set up my monthly view, and I know you guys can tell that some of the bill dues are missing stickers, and the reason being is because I'm actually releasing new bill due scripts. So these like the car payment, car insurance, Patreon due, credit card due, Apple Music, HBO Max, all of these scripts that you would put on top of the bill dues here. Which of course, as always, you guys know it's from my shop, rominarosa.com. I actually asked over on my planning Instagram for any new requests for new scripts, and I'm currently working on those. So definitely stay tuned. Let me know if you have any requests for the bill due script stickers. I will leave a link for the full bill due script collection that I currently offer in the shop, but the other ones won't be available, I want to say, for a few days because I'm still working on them. And yeah, so that's why some of these are blank and don't have the scripts. Like I have a phone bill due as well, as you guys can see here. I hope you guys can see that. I love how cute the monthly view looks with the floral foiled washi here for April. And I also love including some deco, which this is what I have left over from the deco sheet. And it's just super cute. So I did switch out some of my budget expense stickers for some April colors. So I'm using April 2, 4, and 1. All right, so how about before I lay down my stickers, my budget expense stickers, I go ahead and set up my weekly check-in spread. Unfortunately, I won't be able to have any update for the variable income this week, but definitely stay tuned for next week. And then I did set up my first paycheck budget on this side, and then I'll set up my second paycheck budget in here. So we'll have the weekly check-in here, which I have, once again, the floral foiled washi, the weekly check-in with the correlating page flags, and a weekly check-in script for the other page. I just like to set this up on 2 pages. So I'm going to just go really quick and set this spread up. So let's start with the weekly check-in script. I'm really excited because if you guys did not check out my March budget results video, I was able to put quite a bit of leftover cash envelope money into my $500 savings challenge, as well as I just started my $1 savings challenge. So let's go ahead and break up our weeks. Week 1 is actually more of a longer one, so it could be considered week 1 and 2, but we're just going to do week 1 since the first started on a Saturday, and usually I like to go from Monday through Sunday. So the first week is going to start on week 1, but it will be until the 9th here. Then week 2 will start on the 10th. And it will go until the 16th. Week 3 will start on the 17th. And then week 4 will be on the 24th. So there will only be 4 weeks for this weekly check-in. So the last week here will be a results section, which will be nice for you guys to see how I do it. It's going to be different. So I'm going to skip 7 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 right here. If you guys have never done or set up a weekly check-in spread, I definitely recommend it. And you guys will see in just a second how 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 much this spread helps me. Victor does this on his own already, or he has been doing it since before we combine budgets, but checking in with your variable categories like your cash envelopes, I feel like it's essential for you to be able to stick with your budget. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And although I do track all of my cash envelopes with these little cash envelope trackers, it's good to see it in the monthly view as well as on a weekly basis, so you can see how much you have remaining for all your categories and kind of have a game plan for the rest of the month. Because if you don't have a game plan for your money, I promise you there's no way you're going to stick to your budget. Like we mentioned, week 1 will be from the 1st until the 9th, then 10th until the 16th, 17th until the 23rd. Just go to this side. So depending on how many categories you are weekly check-in for is going to determine how many pages you really need. I always do 2 pages because I have so many categories that I like to weekly check-in for. So it's nice that I offer these extra weekly check-in scripts a la carte, so then that way. So one of my camera batteries died, so while that was charging, I went ahead and finished up setting up my spread. So like I mentioned, this last week is going to be my results week. And then I went ahead and took a look at my eating out expense cash envelope tracker, which this one is laminated, so you guys can see how that looks. There's a lot of spending for you now, I know. You guys will see all of my pregnancy cravings for sure. But I went ahead and just wrote down all of my expenses here. Before we move on to the monthly view, I will go ahead and write down my categories, which these lines are not straight whatsoever, but that's okay. So let's see, the first one, and I think I'll do this in the order that I have my cash envelopes, so that way it's a little bit easier. I won't be counting the cash since I'm filming this so late in the week and we've already made some purchases. The first category is going to be groceries, then eating out, gas, beauty, household, allowance, and unbudgeted. So those are all of my categories. And since I'm now stuffing my envelopes twice a month, I know you guys know that I set up my budget spread and all these amounts are for the month, but I started with half of those for my cash envelopes here, which all of this would make sense if you would have seen my last video, which is my paycheck video here. So right here in the rollover section, we'll put how much I added to these envelopes. So I added $175 for groceries, $300 for eating out, $50 for gas, $30 for beauty, $75 for household, $100 for allowance, and we don't add anything for unbudgeted. So those are the numbers there. And now we are ready to check in. Well, we're ready to lay down some stickers. So I'm going to go through the budget expense stickers here and the trackers. And this is definitely different since there's also transactions from Victor when, let's say, like he went with his sister somewhere, so he paid for food. So this is like the first one. They went to go get tortas, which, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm Peruvian. And yes, you know, in most Latin American countries they speak Spanish, but there's words that we say differently for different things, and this is just like a fun fact. But a torta for a Mexican person can be considered a sandwich for a Peruvian person. So we don't call like sandwiches tortas, we call them sandwiches. And a torta for us means a cake. So as you guys can see, it's really funny. We always joke around about that. So when Victor told me he went to go eat a torta, I was like, oh, you had a cake? And I'm like super into sweets right now. So it was just funny. After that, we ended up getting Chinese food. We're actually trying to find a good place to get catering for our baby shower. So we tried one Chinese food place that was $24. And then of course my pregnancy sweet tooth wanted some frozen yogurts. Alright, so I'm clearly not having the best time with my camera batteries, but I just took a break from filming this so that I can have them charged. But I went ahead and just laid down all of my expense stickers here on top for eating out. I brought up the week 1 script, and then I just left the date dot under there, and that looks good to me. So that was for the first. Then on the second, we ended up getting some pupusas after church. So once again, that's eating out. All of these are eating out, to be honest. I feel like we only had eating out and one groceries expense. Then later that day, we had dinner. We had some burgers at this place Victor really likes by his parents' house. We actually had to go by over there to fix some of the storage unit items that we have. I think this was around the time where we were still putting things in the storage unit, and I think even now, which we're like on week 2, I think we still have to put like some last minute things in there. But that was on the second. Then on the third, I have an expense for some donuts. We actually got these after my OB appointment. And then I have one groceries expense for Food for Less. That was $63. And then we didn't have any expenses for anything until the 9th. So as you guys can see, we eat out pretty much only on the weekends, with the exception of these donuts. But we've been doing pretty good about eating in, and even Victor, he's been really good about taking lunch to work, whereas in the past he's gone out to eat. I mean, he works from home twice a week, and then the other 3 days he goes to work. And in the past he has bought, you know, lunch around work, but he's been doing really good about taking leftovers from the day prior and whatnot. So I'm really proud of him for that, because I tell him, like, we have money, like, you can go eat out like once this week, and he would rather just not and just take leftovers. So that definitely helps a lot with our budget. And the last things that we have was on the 9th, which was Easter. We went to grab some ice cream after church. And then his cousins wanted to go out to eat as sort of like a little brunch, since his family wasn't really celebrating Easter. And there's not really any kids in our families, like mine or his family. So we're just really excited about next year, because we know we'll have the baby with us, and it'll be so cute to celebrate Easter with everyone. So we ended up going to BJ's, and we actually kind of set out a budget of how much we were going to spend, and we said we weren't going to go over the $70 mark, and we only spent $65, which is great. And then last but not least, I have an expense here for gas station. We had to pick up some cough drops for his sister, and I think I ended up getting some like peanut M&Ms. So that also came out of eating out. Things like cough drops and stuff like that, in the future I do think it could come out of household, but this time around, since I did get a little snack, I just went ahead and left it as eating out. So those, I believe, were all of our expenses for the first week. And now for no spend days, I'm going to be using this mini sheet of neutral no spend stickers. I don't know, I just wanted to use these neutral ones this time. So I had a no spend day on, or we had no spend day on the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. So that is that, and then I can check off my car payment as well as my car insurance down here. And let's go ahead and start with our weekly check-in. All right, so this is going to, I think, go pretty quickly, but the first category that I have here is groceries, which, like I mentioned, we spent $63 for. So 63, and we started with 175. So that means the remaining we had 112, which is not bad considering we're going to have another paycheck by week 3. Then for eating out, I'm going to just total everything up right now. Let's see, we have yogurt, Chinese, and the tortas. I'll just check these off as I'm adding them. Fabulous, pupusas, donuts, ice cream, BJ's, and the gas station. So that's 209. Let me just double check that. Yes, so it's 209, which, as you guys can see, is quite a bit to be spending in 9 days. But since we budgeted 300 for the week, we actually had quite a bit left over. And I knew that we had budgeted way too much for this category, but we are living at my parents' house right now, so we were thinking of possibly eating out more than what we're able to cook here and whatnot. But it's been going really good with like leftovers and only eating out on the weekend. But yeah, so total spend was $209, and we started with 300. So that means that we had $91 remaining. And once again, we're going to be stuffing that envelope again in the middle of the month. So I think we're doing pretty good with those categories. I think it's going to be nice to see where I can pull some money for my savings challenge in a second. But as you guys can see, that those are all of the expenses that I had. So I know that there was nothing spent for gas, beauty, household, or allowance. And actually for allowance, I'm actually going to change it to $50 spent, because half of this is Victor's and I just go ahead and give him the cash. So that way I'll just be weekly checking in for the money that I receive. And this might not work for everyone, but I feel like that's going to be the best for us right now. So now I'm just writing down our remaining amounts. And nothing for unbudgeted. I will just quickly say that I'm most likely going to have an unbudgeted expense sometime in the 3rd week, because I am going to some sort of physical therapy with our insurance, and we don't currently have a medical sinking fund or anything, so I will definitely have an unbudgeted expense for that. But aside from that, everything looks good. And now I'm trying to debate as to which category I will be pulling to stuff inside of my $500 savings challenge. So as you guys can see right here, we've already stuffed for 7 weeks, and I think 5 of these amounts came from my March rollover cash. So I'm really excited about that. And I think just to finish this off, I might just do the $15. I'm just trying to think from where. So I currently have money that I can take out from allowance or household or beauty. And I think as of now, I'll be taking the $15 out of household. So $15 is coming out of household, but this won't be tracked until the 2nd week. But I can go ahead and check the 15. And with that, we have 2 rows completed. Looks good. And I'm just going to add the cash into here. And I guess I'll go ahead and count how much we have so far. So far we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 25, 130, 35, and $140. I cannot believe that we already have $140, but super, super exciting. So this will just go back inside of my envelope here. Of course, as always, if you're interested in the $500 savings challenge, I am offering this in the shop as well. So you can pick this one or the neutral version up if you're not fond of too much of the pink there. But yeah, I also have my $1 savings challenge, but this one is more for the end of the month for those dollars. And then I have my Christmas sinking fund and my gifts. So I think with that being said, that is going to be it for this weekly check-in video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed as I checked in for our first week. As you guys can see, we're doing pretty good with the amounts there. And it's nice to know that we'll be able to stuff these envelopes one more time before the month ends, which is definitely different for me since I used to stuff my envelopes once a month. But it's a nice, I think, to look forward to. So if you enjoyed this video as always, please do not forget to give it a huge thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel if you guys are not subscribed already. And I will see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.